Hello, and welcome to this new series where I answer the question that has been on everybody's mind. What are my top 10 favorite Pokemon of every type? And I need you guys to understand that's not hyperbole. My phone has been blowing up with this question. A newborn baby learned how to read, write, and articulate their wants and desires just to write me a letter asking me that very question. Well, good news, the wait is over. Please stop crochet bombing my streets in protest. Jokes aside, let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? In these listings, I won't consider gimmick versions of Pokemon like Mega Evolutions or Gigantamaxes, but I will include regional variants and legendaries in this list. And if I like a specific Pokemon in an evolution line along with this final evolution, I will include both Pokemon on the list. I will also try not to double up on Pokemon that have a dual typing. I do really love all Pokemon, so I want a chance to talk about as many as I can. That said, sometimes I might double up depending on how much I love that specific Pokemon. But for fun, I will only talk about the attributes of the Pokemon associated with the list type. So, like, if I'm talking about Weedle for whatever reason, during the bug list, I will only talk about his bug attributes. During the poison list, I will only talk about his poison attributes. Just as an example. Anyways, I'll start with Psychic type, my favorite type. Or is it my favorite type? I like the concept of Psychic type Pokemon. I've always wanted to be a Psychic type trainer and just be able to learn cool abilities from my Pokemon like the Frontier Brain Annabelle. But there aren't that many Psychic types in my top favorite Pokemon of all time, so it seems almost dishonest to say Psychics are my favorite. I honestly don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys determine your favorite type on how many Pokemon are in your top favorite Pokemon list of all time? Or do you determine your favorite type by, like I do, with aesthetics and concepts? Or do you determine it by battle strategy or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments. I love that in the anime, Psychic-type Pokemon are kind of completely overpowered. Being able to throw your enemies around with your mind is an insane feat, let alone being able to turn moves back on your opponent like Sabrina's Alakazam did for, or no, it was Kadabra, did to Pikachu. um, I also really like that before the Fairy-type, Psychic-type Pokemon were associated with magic of any kind. And and we can see that with how most mythic and legendary Pokemon are psychic types or can learn psychic type moves, especially in the earlier generations before Fairy type came out. It's just, I really love this type. Without further ado, and I promise this will be the longest of these videos, let's get into it. And starting at number 10, we have Delphox. I feel like Delphox's design gets a lot of hate. And I get it. By this point in the fandom's history, we were tired of the quadruped turning bipedal Pokemon designs, and I was originally part of the hate crowd for this Pokemon. But now I really like her mature design, the mystic portion of it. And I love the idea of Pokemon casting spells, and her branch wand just ties the entire design together. Her design is probably a reference to the Kitsune Mochi, the Japanese fox witch, while her fire typing is a fun and sad call to the common end of the European witch trials. Picking Finnegan as my Gen 6 starter was an easy choice, especially considering the three starters were based on the three archetypal RPG classes, with Delphox being the mage, my go-to class. And honestly, what is up with the dichotomy of the Pokédex entries for Delphox? In Pokemon X, you are getting a really cool Oracle that uses her fire to see the future. In Y, you're getting a psychic flamethrower that would cook its victims in flames that rivaled the sun. 10 out of 10. At number 9 is Chimecho. The concept of Chimecho is just so cute, and its connection to Japanese Foden is just so rich with folklore. And you are heartless if you didn't cry along with James when he had to leave his Chimecho with his grandparents because it got sick. Chime chime! At number 8 is Meowstic. Cats have been my favorite animal since I can remember, so having a cat that is also a psychic type will immediately grab my attention and hold it. It helps that the contrast of the female and the male designs kind of mimic the yin and yang, a concept of Chinese philosophy that has fascinated me since childhood. It's such a good Pokemon. It really crushed my X and Y run, and I wish I had more anime time, honestly. At number 7, we have Esper. He's just arguably cuter than his evolution, thus his higher ranking. His name is also a really good pun on the word Esper and obviously a cat's purr. Also, the Esper memes were so funny and they're still very hilarious. And I feel like they influenced the flavor text of the Pokédex entries over the years. Like, he's always had to keep his powers tucked in between his ears, but now in more recent games, they draw attention to the blank stare hiding atrocities, just like the memes. I love this little freak. At number 6 is Starmie. This is a Pokemon I haven't started to like until my adulthood. And it's not like I disliked it when I was a kid. I only ever really felt neutral towards it. But now that I'm older, I really like this quirky little sea star that might be from outer space. And also, it's like such a powerhouse in game itself. And you wouldn't have known that if you just watched the anime and never used it in your own run throughs. At number 5 is Latias. And this is just a Pokemon that I so much love because of the movies. And this love has just stuck with me throughout the years. I love how Latias is the softer side of feminism to its design. If Latias and Latios were dogs, I would say that Latios is like a sleek Doberman, while Latias would be a fluffy golden retriever. And I think that was intentional. At number 4 is Celebi. And honestly, the psychic list is where I have the most legendaries because like the movies were just so influential to my childhood growing up that and nostalgia is just the most powerful drug in the world, honestly. And Celebi, I also can't help but love the idea of this ancient and carefree spirit just like roaming the forest, a literal fairy princess that acts as both beloved crown and fearsome shield for the wild areas that it lives in. This movie might have also radicalized me in my nature conservation beliefs, so yeah, Pokemon did that. And number 3, we have Gardevoir. Ever since I was like this little itty bitty queer kid, I have always been attracted to the high feminine. And with Gardevoir, when she came out, she was such a powerhouse. She's a pseudo legendary in her own right. I was just so attached. She was a balance between beauty and power that led little 8-year-old me to start a very long and fun journey in finding myself. Since then, I've kind of scaled her back in my top favorites list, choosing not to train her anymore since when I have her on my team, she's so powerful that I tend to just kind of use her to sweep my opponents instead of training my other Pokemon. So I've kind of pulled her back a little bit. But I still love her design. And the fact that she will conjure black fucking holes, to protect her trainer, now that's real love, right? At number 2 is Slowbro. This is another Pokemon that I didn't really like until my adulthood. And now it's my second favorite psychic type of all time. Crazy development there. And it's not that I actively disliked Slowbro in my childhood, but I honestly kind of saw him and didn't vibe with him whatsoever before Pokemon Go honestly came out. And anyways, as an adult, I fully appreciate his dopey demeanor and those vacant eyes. He's just adorable, and I would totally raise one in real life if I had the chance. And now for my number 1 spot. And honestly, Espeon is my favorite Pokemon of all time and has been since it came out. The simplistic, sleek, pinkish purple design with the minor but exceptional designs with the ear flutes and the red gem and the twin tails. It's fantastic. And it's a folklore being connected to the Japanese Nekomata. This is a peak Pokemon design. And again, for me, you can't go wrong with a psychic cat type Pokemon. I will eat it up every single fucking time. And also just like the flavor text, you can kind of see it right here at the bottom where it will use its forked tail to quiver to let us know its next opponent's attack. In the Pokédex entries, it specifically says that it reads air movements to be able to predict its opponent's attacks, which is it's so fucking cool. I love this Pokemon. It just has been there for me the entire time. Every time I get a chance to raise an Espeon in my game from like the first gym or around the first gym, I will choose to raise the Espeon. And no matter how many times I've raised it, I love this Pokemon so much. I want one so badly. But until I get an Espeon, I get my little cute little Oreo.